Restructuring or transformation is the process of changing the structure of a dataset to a form that allows for analysis. Depending on the desired outcome, there are three types of restructuring: converting observations into variables, variables into observations, and full data transposition, which transforms all observations into variables, and variables into observations in the new dataset. In this tutorial, we will focus on the variant that transforms variables into observations. This option should be selected when the data file contains related columns that should appear in separate rows in the output file. The data presented on the slide contains information about the daily revenues of different departments of a company. Based on this data, we will prepare a report presenting the average revenues of the company and their summary. For this purpose, we will use an OLAP cube. The current form of the dataset does not allow for presenting this information, so before proceeding with the analysis, we will restructure the variables into observations, transforming the data into the form shown on the right side of the slide. To do this, go to the Data menu and select Restructure Data. Next, select the option Restructure Selected Variables into Cases and click Next. In the second step of the wizard, we can specify the number of related groups of variables we intend to restructure. In our case, we leave the default option indicating one group and click Next. In the section Case Group Identification, change the option from Use Case Number to Use Selected Variable and move the variable quarter to the right using the arrow. This variable will help the program identify each group of observations. Then, in the section Variables to be transposed, place all variables with the prefix department. And in the field Target Variable, enter the name of the new variable, Revenue. This variable will contain the revenues from all company departments. Click Next. The Next tab in the wizard allows for placing an index variable in the restructured dataset. Its purpose is to uniquely identify groups of observations. Since in our dataset, the variable quarter uniquely identifies each group of departments, select the option None and click Next. The following two sections address the handling of unselected variables and missing values. In the analyzed dataset, such cases do not occur, so we leave these options unchanged. At this stage, the wizard also offers the possibility to create an additional counting variable, which will contain information about the number of new rows generated by one row in the existing data. Finally, proceed to the last window of the wizard, and, leaving the default option, Restructure Data, click Finish. As a result of our action, the dataset is transformed, enabling the creation of a crosstab or an OLAP cube. Since the method of building such objects is not the subject of today's presentation, I am only presenting the final output object. The restructuring operation does not cause information loss, as may happen with aggregation, and most importantly, it is a fully reversible process. The variety of options offered by the restructuring wizard is extensive, so I encourage you to experiment with the available settings of this procedure.